Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Big Akar Ahmed and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be going ahead and speaking about alcohol. Why is alcohol haram, forbidden, and restricted in the religion of Islam? Why do no Muslims drink or should drink or sell alcohol or have anything to do with alcohol on this planet, as alcohol is one of the leading industries and leading best-selling items on the market? Why are Muslims one of the largest populations of human beings on the planet outside of this business or outside of this realm? How can Christians and Jews who follow the same prophets, the same God, think it's okay to go ahead and drink alcohol, drink this intoxicant, and Muslims cannot? Why in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, does it talk about alcohol so much? It talks about prophets drinking. It talks about Jesus turning water into wine and all of these different things. But then in Islam, it is completely forbidden. We're going to go ahead and talk about that here today. And we're going to go ahead and pull up the Quran and check out the verses that talk about this in specific. Now, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and talk about the basic, right? Now, in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, it is haram to intoxicate yourself. It is haram to get to the point where you have lost control of your bodily functioning. You have put something into your body by choice, if that's smoking, if that's drinking, if that's however you're going to do that, and ingesting this thing that's not for a medical reason, to go ahead and get high, to go ahead and get intoxicated to a point where your mind, your brain does not work properly, or you're physically harming your health or your physical body. This is known as a sin. Don't care what religion you're in, don't care what verse you're going to pull. It is completely a sin to damage the blessings that God has gone ahead and given you, and that is your body, that is your mind, that is your thought process, your free will, your critical thinking skills. When you destroy those, when you damage them temporarily or permanently, and you do it not by accident, not because you had to, but you do it by choice to have fun, this is where it becomes a super problem with you and your creator. So just to go ahead and put that in the clear between all the religions, getting drunk is a sin. I don't care if you're Christian, I don't care if you're Jewish. Getting drunk, drinking, going out with your friends, taking your clothes off, going to clubs, that is a sin. Especially when you have cross tattoos on your body and you're trying to represent Christianity and represent Jesus. And he turned water into wine. That's not how it works. Jesus didn't go out to the clubs and get drunk every weekend. And we're going to go ahead and tell you why. Now, alcohol is a depressant. Before we go ahead and jump into the Quran and what the Quran specifically says about these things, alcohol is a depressant. Alcohol is an intoxicant. It is a drug. It is labeled as a class 2 drug, I believe, with cocaine by the United States government. It is worse than marijuana. It is worse than a lot of other drugs that are out there. Alcohol will take a person to the point where they don't know what's going on anymore. They have lost control of their mind. They make impulsive decisions on the fly. That may be sexually. If someone is flirting with them, they may, go ahead and cater to that person sexually on the fly like that. Or, if someone makes them mad, they might hit them or shoot them or punch them or hit them or do whatever they need to do because someone made them mad on the fly instinctively like that. And when it comes down to alcohol and making decisions on the fly, that's what happens all the time. When you're driving and you need to make a decision, your brain doesn't know left from right, up from down. Your brain doesn't know what it did 5 minutes ago. Your body's trying to throw up this fluid and get it out of your body. Your throat is burning. Your stomach is burning. This is what alcohol does. These are the effects of alcohol on your body, on your mind. Alcohol is probably one of the leading causes of problems on the whole entire planet. There would be a lot less dead people, a lot less divorces, a lot less beaten people, a lot less cheaters, a lot less of everything without this intoxicant called alcohol. Now, to go ahead and talk about exactly what the Quran says about it, we'll go ahead and do that. The Quran, just for all of you guys who are here to say, oh, the Quran doesn't specifically talk about alcohol. It doesn't. The Quran does not say that alcohol is forbidden. It is a sin. Do not drink alcohol. It does not say that. And we'll go ahead and talk about what the Quran does say and why alcohol falls under the same exact category. And it'll be very clear to you. But when it comes down to this liquid, this fluid, right? it is probably the world's leading cause of issues, okay? And before we go ahead and get into these two verses right here that I want to show you, and we'll go ahead and end it off, I want to go ahead and tell you why alcohol, why marijuana, why cocaine, why these substances are horrible for you, okay? They're very, very, very horrible for you. When you intoxicate yourself, okay, you disconnect yourself from God. You become impure. And we'll go ahead and I'll tell you why you're impure in just a second using the verse. But you become impure. You become in a state to where you can't pray, right? You can't call out to God when you're in that state. I mean, you can. You're always free to call out to your creator, and your creator may answer. But you're not in a pure state, right? Like, you're not going to go get drunk and then go to an interview. You're definitely not going to go get drunk and then ask God for forgiveness. Like, you're just not going to do that. Because getting drunk and asking God for forgiveness are in two different spectrums, right? One is seen as bad, sinful, impure, dirty, and one is seen as connecting to your creator, the creator of all things. You want to be in your purest state. This isn't like going to an interview. So when it comes down to intoxicating yourself, smoking weed and drinking alcohol, and you're doing this on the weekends, you're doing this every day, you're doing this all whatever, you come in a state where you're vulnerable now to jinn. You're vulnerable now to these demons, these shaitan, these evil things that go ahead and speak in your ear. Our brains are computers, and you have your keyboard plugged into your computer. When you type commands to your brain takes those commands and responds to them, right? So what happens when you're intoxicated is when something else comes and plugs their keyboard into your brain, that shaitan, that jinn, that demon comes and plugs their keyboard into your brain, and you're intoxicated, you don't have the protection of God the way you had the protection of God before, because you are now impure. And on top of that, you are opening yourself up in your mind up to taking commands from however many of these demons, however many of these keyboards that decide to come plug themselves into you while you're intoxicated. You go out, you have a drink, you do all this stuff, you attract these demons. They come to you because they know you're vulnerable. They plug themselves into your mind. They start telling your brain some stuff. Do this, say this, hit her, do that. And you're doing it all. And you don't even realize it because you're in this autopilot zone. Your actual soul is being crushed. Your soul is what keeps you from doing good. But when you intoxicate yourself, when you do bad things, when you sin, when you go ahead and damage that soul and beat that soul up, then what happens is your soul becomes weak. It becomes very quiet. And then those evil things, these evil spirits, become very loud in your mind, you know? And that's where all these things come from, where the voices are in your head and you can't get them out. They're so loud, and that's exactly what that is. And you need to cleanse yourself. You need to clean yourself. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what the Quran has to say about intoxicants, about alcohol in specific, and why Muslims are so key and prone to staying away from alcohol. So in the Quran, in chapter 4, verse 43, it says, "O believers, do not approach prayer while intoxicated, until you are aware that you say nor are in the state of full impurity, unless you merely pass through the mosque until you have bathed. But if you are ill or on journey or have relieved yourselves or have been intimate with your wives and cannot find water, then purify yourself with clean earth, wiping your faces and hands, and Allah is ever pardoning, all forgiving." So God Almighty is saying, do not approach prayer. Do not pray to me, okay? Which is what we do 5 times a day. We pray to God. We fast. We do a lot of these things for God on a daily basis. So when God tells us, do not approach your prayer while intoxicated until you are aware of what you say, nor in a state of full impurity. So God's saying, if you're not fully pure, if you're 1% impure, if you don't know what you're saying, you're in a state of of intoxication. Even if you went to the dentist and you got a couple shots in your mouth to numb it and you're talking like a buffoon, don't pray. It's better not to pray when you're not in a full state of stability, when you're not in a full state of purity, and when you are intoxicated. You do not pray. So if God Almighty is telling you that you can't even pray, you cannot submit yourself to the creator of all things because you're intoxicated by any means, right? Or you're in a state of impurity where you're sick or you're on journey or you've been intimate with your wives, clean yourself and purify yourself with water or the earth. But if you're intoxicated, you do not pray. You are not allowed to pray if you are intoxicated. And this is one of the most important subjects and most important things. This verse alone tells me don't drink, don't smoke, don't do these things. Because I pray 5 times a day. If I drink today, I'm always approaching my prayer in a state of impurity. It doesn't leave my system. It's in there. I'm drunk. I'm feeling the effects. I feel hungover the next day. Like, it never leaves you. It lingers with you, right? That's how it works. People are still, urinating and pooping out the remainder of the alcohol they drank 3 days ago. That's just how it works. It's still in your body. It's still lingering. You're still intoxicated. And you're not able to pray. You're not in the spot or the correct, you're not in the correct qualifications to go ahead and pray or submit yourself to God. And that's not a place that I want to be. That's a place of haram. It's a place that you want to forbid to yourself. It's a place you never want to go to, is a state of impurity if you don't have to. Why intoxicate yourself? Why mess with the mind, the brain, the body that God has blessed you with and go ahead and say, it's okay, I just want to have a drink and let loose and have fun. You're letting loose because you're giving your body up to a bunch of demons. You're giving your body up to a bunch of these jinn to come and have a good time. To come and influence your mind, your body to do what they want you to do. They become your God when you're intoxicated. Just to let you know, that's why they do that. It's a power thing. They come to you when you're intoxicated and you're weak and you don't know what's going on, and they tell you do this and do this and do this, and you go and you smack your wife, or you jump in the street while there's a moving car coming because you're an idiot and you're intoxicated because a jinn or a shaitan or this demon told you to, and then they feel big and strong because this human being that is physical, that is blessed with a body, with a mind, with intellect, with everything that jinn, that demon wasn't, right? When he goes ahead and submits to that jinn and does something very stupid and does things against God and is intoxicated and completely is disconnected from God and prayer and all of that stuff and is completely impure, that's his favorite time to strike. That's when he gets in your head. That's when he wants to mess with you. When you'll listen to him so he can feel like you're God. And that's just how it works. So going ahead and checking the next verse here in the final verse, and we'll go ahead and end it here, is, O believers, intoxicants, gambling, idols, and drawing lots for decisions are an evil of Satan's handiwork. So shun them so you may be successful. 590 of the Holy Quran. Continuing on to 591, it says, Satan's plan is to stir up hostility and hatred between you with intoxicants and gambling to prevent you from remembering Allah and praying. Will you then not abstain? So God is going ahead and saying that Satan's handiworks are gambling and idols, things that you might worship. It might be pop stars and artists. That may be statues. That may be your president. That may be whatever the case may be. Anyone you idolize and you seek to be like, and you just forget God and you just, I love you so much, Justin Bieber. Like that, right? Gambling, intoxicants. These are Satan's handiwork. When you're intoxicated, shaitan, the devil, the demons can get into your head. When you're gambling, they can get into your head. When you're worshiping idols, they can get into your head. You are disconnecting from God in the highest form necessary, right? And these are things you need to really stay away from. Intoxicants, gambling, and idols. These are 3 things that God is saying are Satan's handiwork. He loves these things. These are the things that break everything apart in the world and disconnect you from God in the highest form. Satan's plan to stir up hostility and hatred between you with intoxicants and gambling and prevent you from remembering Allah. So when you're gambling, when you're drinking intoxicants, like, alcohol or doing drugs or any of this stuff, shaitan has you forgetting God. And even if you remember God in that moment, right, he has you so disconnected that you're not even pure enough to pray to God. God has disconnected from you. You haven't even disconnected from God. God disconnected from you because of decisions that you have made, and you have gone ahead and stabbed your soul, stabbed your heart, and got rid of that purification from yourself. So this is exactly why Muslims abstain, stay away from alcohol at all costs, all means necessary, no matter what happens in the afterlife, no matter what happens, and well, it's just a drink, I'm an adult, I can do this, I didn't get drunk. Stay away. Abstaining from intoxicants is the best thing that you can possibly do. Abstaining from these things will keep you away from sin. It'll keep you away from problems. It'll keep you away from impurity, and it'll keep you connected to your Creator. So thank you guys so much for coming in today. God bless every single one of you for sticking around and checking out the video. And until next time, we will talk to you later. And free Palestine. Bye-bye, baby.